today we are getting into chapter 1157 of One Piece. And I have two of my homies here with me today. Our captain couldn't be here. He has some things on the go, other islands to pillage and plunder. But I have started off with Vex. Vex, tell him how you're doing today.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Vexus, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vex. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's been a minute. Hope you guys had a good One Piece day. But yeah, we're gonna be getting into it. 1157.
And then we got also Cube. How about you introduce yourself, brother?
Yo, what up, guys? Hey, man, I'm excited. Another week, another greatness, another rocking chapter. Man, what are we gonna be reading about lately? Man, it's been going crazy.
It is going crazy, isn't it? It's been a few chapters. And starting off with something that I know you're super excited about, Vex. Right back into it.
Oh
Your
man,
favorite story?
everything is right again with the world, with the community, with the cosmos. Hashtag Fun Warriors. Love me some Yamato cover story stuff. I thought we were gonna get like a reveal, but I feel like he's prolonging it a bit. And like, I don't know, man. You guys got theories? Like, whose grape is this?
All right, Cube. I know you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Hit me with it. Hit me with it.
So when they had the Kaido comment, obviously for me it changed a lot of stuff. And there's something I've always said that I always found very interesting, and I've always felt like it could be Clover. Clover knows how to read and write poneglyph. That means he had come to Wano. He could have been that guy that went to Wano and talked to Shimosuke, and which would have pushed the Shimosuke to go to see go to one of the four blues, the East Blue, and Clover's from the West Blue. So what if this person is Oshimaru, the daimyo of Ringo, the same person that we saw fight against Kaido, and it would explain why Yamato would go pay their respect. The one that inspired Yamato. So I'm wondering if it's him, because they made the comment that Zoro is similar to Ryuma, but also to Oshimaru.
See, I read this and I'm thinking that it's someone that didn't die because there was no traces of his body behind.
Yeah, we know Oda.
That's my first thought. It was like, okay, he's still
no body,
alive,
no crime,
clearly.
right? Like,
yeah, for sure, he's still around. He was fighting Kaido. Like that wasn't that long ago. Yeah, no, I don't dislike the idea though.
Yeah, I like. A lot of people have been thinking outside of the box and been thinking about people that we didn't see within the framework of the Wano story. People who, because obviously this person was born in the West Blue, so they have to have knowledge and have been in the outside world. So I've heard a lot of people saying other things, but having it be someone who's more directly tied to Wano, I think is very viable, because this is a celebrated hero and they are very the whole closed borders aspect and whatnot. I think it's a good idea to think that it's somebody who is more centered in Wano, even though their origins were elsewhere. But I've been hearing a lot of other possible theories.
I heard Moria floated around.
I mean, man, wouldn't we love it? But there's no way. I just don't see it being possible. I think so. Because we do know Moria did clash with Kaido and whatnot. That was, I think it was confirmed 23 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, 23 years ago.
So, I mean, that's interesting, and it's an option. And he is kind of like the body snatcher guy. So, like, he'd be Grave Robin. So it would make sense that there would be no like body left behind, even if it wasn't necessarily Moria himself. Right. But maybe he was just involved with the disappearing of the body. Maybe that's an option. And maybe they did pass away and it's not Oda pulling in Oda. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think we're going to find out. This guy is
I am believing they're still around.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. We get right into the chapter with like a wild, I guess, what is this? A heist? Like, is this what they're up to? They're like, Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. It's literally it's the worst timeline. Ocean's 11. Like, they have like no teamwork whatsoever.
Yeah,
dude, it's so funny.
is great. I was liking it a lot. I haven't spent much time actually digging into like the specifics of these panels, but it is pretty cracked. You see, Zeus is there though. Zeus and Hera are involved in this, which I found hilarious.
Zeus and Prometheus or
Prometheus,
Napoleon or
sorry.
whatever.
Yeah. He's seen
Yeah,
some stuff.
seeing more Finland is always a blast. Seeing some of the personalities of some of these other characters that we haven't really gotten much more than a panel or two from is also really, really cool. I have to celebrate Shiki at every chance I
Dude.
can. As soon as he's in a panel, I'm like, my boy, my goat. And look at him just being such a shit stirrer. Like,
Yeah,
it's so
perfect.
crazy.
It's perfect. But they're so big too. Everybody's so big in this panel. You see all the tiny monks here just trying to defend it. It's so wild. What a menace they were. But yeah, they drops the bomb on Kaido and Kaido and Whitebeard. Just crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. This also did signify the death of an agenda. I know a lot of people have been thinking that potentially Rox had the Gura because we hadn't seen Whitebeard use it in these past flashbacks up until this point. So I think that does put that completely to bed, right?
Yeah.
This is what it needed. Like, I was a big believer, so now I do think there was something with the Gura ability, but it's not like Zebex had it. So yeah, that's what we needed, so they connect to Whitebeard using it at least.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about this because holy crap, I've seen it thrown around twice now. Well, actually, probably more than that, but like two well thought out reasoning theories by how Whitebeard was probably who destroyed God Valley and sunk the island. Just based on this alone.
Yeah.
After the defeat of
like
Rox,
a taco, makes you a pretty likely suspect,
Yeah, this is insane. Like we
when
see
you have
Marineford,
that kind of power.
And
Actually,
I love all this. I'm not gonna lie. Even seeing Big Mom here screaming out in Newgate, like you're doing it again, kind of thing. Like I'm so sick of your shit.
So actually, this chapter, what Whitebeard did, kind of, a lot of people have always like the idea that maybe pre-time to Marineford and Strela Bark, because they were like both those who had like heavy lore that I connect to some of the stuff we got in God Valley. I'm wondering if the form of the attack kind of tells us what happened to God Valley. Because the middle part kind of makes me think of the size of Strela Bark, what was left of the island of Strela Bark.
Oh yeah, well
I'm wondering,
still have that on the agenda, but Thriller Bark isn't.
Yeah.
It is a massive island, but it's not like a nation. You know what I mean? Like that's probably what's left of God Valley. If I'm being realistic, yeah.
And I was like the idea because Marineford was the only one where we can see flashback. They never give the title of Marineford in the past, and Sengoku said 22 years ago. Ever since it's become the home of the Marines, it's been called Marineford, which makes you think of what it was called before that. So the form of it kind of makes you think of this could be some ideas that we've talked in the community of how it was separated. It would explain, why Sula Bark is the way it is because of the Gura, not just any abilities. Which is interesting.
Explain why Thriller Bark's peak. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a compulsory response. I think something that's extremely interesting to me is seeing this little exchange between Newgate and Kaido, where they're talking about like, you better make sure that you like your devil fruit power before you bite into it, because you're gonna be stuck with it for life.
Yep.
And it's like, obviously we know Kaido doesn't get his fruit until post God Valley. It was just because of the exchange that we had and his little poor excuse for a backstory. But it's like, I don't know, when you have individuals like Rox, who we assume knows more because somehow his progeny, his child, does clearly know more. And Rox is specifically seeking out these two, devil fruits, one of which, Herald is necessary for it unlocking its full potential. People were thinking that, the Gura might be one, but we see he's already got that. But he still could have directly sought that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, there's people here who know a lot more than we do, and I feel like this conversation might be a bit deeper than just like him telling like a young kiddo like, hey, don't be too hasty, like, you know what I mean? I think there,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seems way, I think it could be really cool to look back at this after we know everything, you know what I mean?
Right. And like you said, like he's got the two, but like Blackbeard, he's probably aligned himself with people with specific fruits as well. Like Blackbeard gathered fruits specifically he wanted his crew to have. So having Whitebeard here, there's probably a reason for it as well.
Yeah, like he could have been looking for like 4 or 5 and just
Yeah.
he's already found some of them.
Yeah, right.
You know,
There's
because
two I
he's
need to
got
make this happen.
Big Mom right
is what he's
there.
saying.
Yeah, I mean, Big Mom and Whitebeard are the two most notable, but those are like two of the strongest paramecias in the entire verse as far as we're concerned, and they're just right here on the same crew.
Yeah. And I love the interactions. It's banter, like constantly bitching and complaining with each other until the Navy shows up, and then they throw down again. Crazy stuff,
So
though. This list of feats.
that scene is very weird because the panel, and I think it's Captain John who's Zebex when they're seeing it's the Navy. It's the 101 panel, if I'm not mistaken, of Kid and Killer seeing the Red Hair fleet before obviously his major defeat. And I won't lie to you, it's such a people I brought up in the past of the man marked by flame. And he said because of all the idea was because all the road poneglyph, except for the one in Zao, were all connected to former rock pirates, right? Whitebeard's territory, Fishman Island, Big Mom, Kaido. The idea was that what if it's a rocks pirates, but he's just like Whitebeard? He matured enough to know that he's not the one, but he made sure to find the one at one point. And I won't lie, the fact that Kid also's drip is very similar to some of the rock pirates. I'm wondering if the man marked by flame is connected to the rocks pirates. Because one of the previous members we haven't seen in a long time.
It wouldn't be a stretch
Because of
to
it as well.
say the knowledge come from this crew about the poneglyphs. Like, realistically, they seem to be getting involved in all that stuff.
A while back when we first got confirmation that Ochoku or Wang Ji was who was in charge of Hachinosu for all these years since Rox's passing up until Blackbeard kind of usurped that, we still don't really know his whereabouts or if he's unalive or alive or anything like that. We haven't seen present day Wang Ji, which, you know, we would love that if he is still kicking. But I thought that he was probably like the prime candidate for the man marked by flames, because it does make a lot of sense to tie this type of knowledge to a rocks pirate, because they would have probably been in the know on a similar level as a Roger pirate, but much more taboo, you know, since that's constantly something that we've heard about surrounding Rox's lore, is he was erased from history because of specifically him being someone of the taboos, who's, you know, unspeakable crimes, whereas Roger is much more in the limelight. He's too mainstream. Like, I don't know if I'm cool with it being, or I don't know if I'm as cool with it being a Roger pirate, although obviously I'm still open to that.
Yeah, and like it would almost be like telling everybody where it's to, like, oh, these were the last people to gather all this, and now they're holding on to it. But if it was a trusted person or someone they knew would stand up against anybody to protect the poneglyph, then that would be a safer spot than, say, I don't know, Saba Odi with Rayleigh, because he doesn't want to guard a poneglyph for 50 years or 25 years.
Yeah. And if you think about it, with Blackbeard and his rise and whatnot, after his long, like, slow cook plan of, you know, I need to get this specific fruit, and now he is just speed running, becoming the, you know, the king of the world type shit. We've a lot of people have tried to figure out how he has this information from Rox potentially, or is Rox a second soul in his body? Or, you know, like, or there's all these different theories, and I don't know really which one I'm more of a fan of. But either way, if we were to think that it was just a Rox aligned benefactor spoon feeding this type of information to Blackbeard, that would make sense as to, for as someone like a man marked by flames, somebody who has the information on this last road poneglyph. That would make perfect sense because we saw Blackbeard was the only um one of the people who arrived at Sabaody pre-time skip around the same time. Like, he was one of the only ones who wasn't concerned immediately with finding a road poneglyph.
No.
He was just kind of chilling. He was doing other things, and then they came to him through form of heat and wire. But like, he could have all of them right now.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. He could be one step ahead this entire game. And he's kind of been written as that as well. Like, what would be the ultimate way for Oda
I
to
think
say...
it fits with this character.
Yeah, exactly. What would be the ultimate way for Oda to say, Luffy, you've just been chasing behind this man on the way to the One Piece all story. Just be like, oh, well, he already had one, and you didn't even know about him. I think that's a great way to do it. But then we keep moving on here. I mean, this is kind of crazy, though. This list of feats. This is pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
This is like what I spoke about
Kaido's backstory.
What? Sorry?
When we got like the half a page that was Kaido's backstory, it was listing off all the times he had been captured. And it was like, but he did it. He let himself be captured specifically so he could just get a hot meal and stuff like that. And people were comparing his accolades to Luffy's because, I don't have it right in front of me. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. But I believe the number was like 17 or 18 or something like he'd been captured like 17 or 18 times, something around that ballpark. And people went back and literally counted how many times Luffy had been captured in the story because clearly Oda's going to do some paralleling. Right. And like, I'm wondering, I haven't done like the whole math piece, like go through and like pull all the credentials and compare kind of analysis with this, but like, yeah, this shit has been insane just to like look at all of these feats that we're getting.
Yeah, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we had a discussion, but like, for the only people to talk about rocks are the people from this era. Like, the majority of people around the world don't seem to know anything about it, but he did all this. It seems there might be something to that, a halting of information or something, a quiet covering up of all this stuff. Like, this is the narrator telling us this. Is this what the public knows, or is this what he did that, the world government didn't tell the public?
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you think the nation that they're saying that just completely fell to ruin, is that because where they were when Whitebeard sunk that island, he just folded that shit like a taco. That wasn't a nation, right? That was like a company. That was like a headquarters, right?
Yep.
So what nation did they just Lelucia? Like, you know what I mean?
5
like,
towns, one nation.
That's crazy.
And a nation brought to ruin, like, that's Doflamingo level. That's not like we plundered you. That's, you're no longer functioning as a society because of us.
What's like in Film Red, like Top Musica, like just like they had to like Elegia. I know it's like Film Red's not canon, but it's like that level of like a feat. That's crazy, right?
Yep.
So that's the one thing that caught my eye is One Nation brought to ruin. And this kind of made me think of how they're introducing Zebex is similar to how from the outside world people could see Luffy's growth. Like, it's random and he's affecting the world government because that is what they said about Dressrosa after the Straw Hat left. The Straw Hat left Dressrosa in ruins after defeating the Flamingo. That's what it was reported to the Gorosei. Yeah. So I am wondering if there's a parallel to Luffy's thing, but the reason why it's mentioned this way, it's basically we're getting how the real people are getting the information. So we don't hear when you went down in Sabaody. So it could be like the port reduced to ashes. It's basically they're clashing with the world government, and then only thing they cover up with the Straw Hat is the Straw Hats kidnapped Vegapunk. The Straw Hats attacked Celestial Dragons for no reason in Sabaody.
Mm-hmm.
The Straw Hats did that, And if you look at Luffy, the growth of his bounties got just rapidly in under a year. He went from 30 million to 100 million to 200 million to 400 million. So it kind of makes me think it's very similar to the Straw Hats, but we're just seeing from a different perspective.
Yes and no. I don't want to be too charitable because they are kind of ruthless in their, tactics, but absolutely there is some
It's more of
clashing
like
happening.
I see it like Kid, because like when
Yeah,
Kid was first introduced to us in Saba Odi, it was like it was somebody with less scruples. Like Luffy isn't just gonna go and dunk on a city because they laugh at him or make fun of his name or his like crew or something like that. Like it's
exactly.
like you gotta start shit for Luffy to like start throwing hands. He's not just gonna do it because vibes. Kid was like that person who would be merciful and would have that blasé attitude about violence and just he'd be like, well, all right, cool. You don't need to start anything. Kid will start it, and that's more of what I see Rocks doing.
Yeah,
So I feel like these accolades might be a bit like inflammatory, and not
inflated
all
a
of this
bit.
could even really be his fault. It's just like
Yeah,
it's when you start a wave that big, people might just attribute it to you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah, and I like
So
how you
the
touched on the
reason,
difference in Luffy and Kid because just 1 second to bring it up because Shanks was that difference. Shanks was the one who taught Luffy like you can be laughed at. That's not a big deal. It's when your friends are in trouble that you should stand up.
uh, yeah, with that, I'm gonna add is it's because it's what they said before they started attacking. It did reveal because of Big Mom and how she talked to the people and they realized that they were caught, that the people that they were attacking were not so innocent. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's much worse. So, the shots. So it could be the kid thing, but like we're kind of seeing from an outside perspective that they're making them to be that villainous, but it could be similar to the kid pirates. They're not villain by nature, but their actions they just don't. They're not like Luffy's crew. They don't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I won't lie
I
Absolutely.
to you.
think when
This chapter pushed me to be that the speech of Sengoku about they're horrible people, blah 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 blah, is an exaggeration or propaganda. Like they're just pure evil. At that time, obviously, at
yeah,
that time, because
I think we
they don't.
see some of the true colors here because Shiki was willing to just like he's like, oh well, if those dudes don't make it out, it's just more money for us and stuff. So it's like you could see like where their priorities align.
Yeah,
Like they're not opposed to throwing anyone under the bus so long as it
No.
profits them. And like I feel like I think it's easier to gain a real bad reputation when you act and operate like that as a full crew.
yeah.
Um versus like the straw hats and stuff like that. But one thing about all of these feats that were listed off by the narrator in these like Oda boxes and stuff that took me by surprise is the whole thing about what is this 3 unprecedented violations of Article 18 of international law.
What the
What do
hell is
you guys
that?
think that is? That is some jargon. Like, what are you cooking,
Poneglyphs.
Oda? Like, I
Uh, like I don't know, man. What is that? Crazy.
Dude,
It's
of course,
crazy.
I
We
I
need
I
to know.
I know what it is. I know what
Go
it
ahead.
is. The first one was
oh, he's
one of
got
them
it.
walked. One of them walked too close to Celestial Dragon and blocked his shadow. The other one is he breathed the same oxygen as the Celestial Dragon. Dude, I am sure it's something so minuscule if you really think about it. Like it's not a real law broken, but they make it so big. Dude, I don't trust anything that comes from the world government.
No,
Yeah, and
absolutely not.
what's crazy is that all of these things we can assume have happened fairly recently because up until the Hachino, like he had talked about working for the government to take out Hachinosu. He's like, I struck up a deal with the government.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is 42. So I'm not saying that this is like a hard window, but it's like a 2 to 4 year window here where this band of criminals racked up most of this. Otherwise, I don't think they would have been so willing to strike up a deal with Rocks, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's not a big.
Because like if you look at
Yeah.
you look
This
at
is
a whole
Luffy
decade
timeline,
or the
like
whole era,
couple years.
exactly, it compresses it to more of what we're used to, right?
Yeah,
Like,
this is wild stuff, like crazy pace. I wouldn't even. I'd have to sit down and look at the numbers, but it has to be within like 2 to 3 years. All this just went down.
at least most of it, right? Some of it, I
Yeah.
think, if you have like one port that you burned, they'll probably still let you, take out Hachinosu on their behalf or something like that. I don't think that's the line they draw, but clearly not all of these crimes were on the docket before they struck up a deal with him, like for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we even get to a little later in the chapter, not to jump ahead, but then we get to like the 42-year mark, and that's like setting it as everything you've seen up to this point was before that. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we get
And I
another
won't-
island in the New World confirmed.
Anishi.
Also, Enishi.
I think so. I think that's how you pronounce
Anishi.
it. Anishi. Yeah. This is nuts though. Like headshots in One Piece is crazy.
Sorry, I had to respond to Cody in chat. It was urgent.
I gotta find it. But no, this is wild. Like I couldn't believe Oda just drew that like point blank. Like a CP0 agent just shooting someone.
Yeah, that is really cold. And like, I don't know, Harold saying basically to him, like, you're not human and like knowing what all is on the line, like it's really, in just a few pages, strengthens how much I absolutely like adore this character. I wasn't week to week for the Odin stuff, but I did start to adore Odin in his flashback as we started to like move further along and whatnot. And we did eventually get to a point where it was more of a Roger flashback than an Odin flashback. And it has seemed like similar trajectory here, how it's like, well, we're going to focus on Loki. Psych, we're going to focus on Harold. Psych, we're going to focus on Rocks. But I'm glad to see Harold still getting some shine and like these strong character moments,
Yeah. Well, most of this flashback, I thought we were getting it from like Loki's perspective, but at this point, I think it's just like a total exposition flashback. Just Oda being like, this is the story of this period of time. Because at first, going into it, I thought we were just going to get what Loki knew. But all this is way too deep for Loki to be privy to.
No, yeah. Like I don't think he really knows all of the inner workings of the Rocks pirates or like his dad and things like that. I think that we're just getting more of the Herald focused and Rocks focused things because it provides context to who Loki is as a person and how that situation in the throne room will unfold when we get to see more than like a half a panel of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if we just see Harold getting, like taken down and we don't really know who he is, it doesn't hit as hard, right?
Right. I gotta shout out Cody for hair old because he's bald now. I just
stop.
I can't.
Go ahead, Cube.
I won't lie to you. This flashback kind of makes me think of this. People have talked about in years that what if it's like the story of One Piece right now? Is it happening current? It's about like the cover stories. We know the cover stories in the present time in the story. It's always like a bit in the past. So that we saw that with putting cover story as a prime example. I won't lie to you, especially with like two or one chapter ago when we got the reveal of all the Rocks pirates with all even their titles like future Big Mom, future Beast, the strongest living beast. You guys think of Garp, future hero. It kind of makes you think of, and Fritz did this back in the day of the last arc. Did talk about that when he caught up to Wano. It was like it's almost like Wano was a retelling, and we're seeing from someone's perspective. Which like, and this could lead to like once we get to Laugh Tale, we get a quick flashback which explains all of what we've been reading, and then the final war starts. I won't lie, this flashback is making me feel that this could be possible because of the details that Harold and Loki cannot know about the Rocks, but we're getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spoke on that last week as well. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
totally fair. But shifting our focus entirely to Harold, he has this lovely little conversation with Rocks. I guess not entirely to Harold, but I've seen people throw around that Harold might have been the one to betray Rocks. I don't think that's how this is adding up. What do you guys think of that?
I think if it were, Loki would probably have stronger opinions about, I don't know, the way he talked to Harridan about, like, you think unalive our father in cold blood and stuff like that. I think that if he was so gung-ho about Rocks and stuff like that as like his like Shanks figure, like his mentor, I feel like he would maybe have more mixed opinions. I don't think it's Harold. I mean, sure, I guess that's an option, but yeah. I think that he has a whole entire crew of scoundrels who would sell him out in a heartbeat for like a couple berries. I think the only one actually truly faithful to Rocks is Harold and probably Newgate. Like, of this any of the interactions that we've seen, right?
This whole conversation, and I've seen it floating around many spaces that like, oh, Harold must have done something for Rocks to fall at God Valley, and I don't see it. Like, they're still kicking it after years. He still welcomes him on Elbaf. He's like, I can't take you up to the palace because I might get a bad reputation, but we'll hang her down here.
Yeah. Can we also just take a second to just admire Harold once he's got the shaved head? Because like, what a Chad.
Kratos,
what an absolute
it's a nuts
specimen, like that's crazy aura. Like when we saw his painting, in the castle, and we're like, oh man, that guy, like, we're finally there. Like,
I don't think he has that sword yet either.
I still meme. I don't know. I don't think we get a good shot of any of that, but like, I memed for a long time when we got the panel of him getting punched by Ida, and he's like, huh? Like, it's my most used emote on Discord currently. Like, I love that panel so much, but like the glow up from there to here is crazy.
Dude, that slap. Right? The slap. It's fantastic. And Ida here, she's great. Great.
Yeah. And I was thinking this was the legendary bar, because that's the title of this chapter, is the legendary bar. And I was like, oh, so cool. We're going to get more significance from Ida, maybe more fuel for the Ida Ismosa agenda, or like something about that. But nope, it has nothing to do with that at all, which we'll cover that more shortly. But
yeah,
I did also want to backpedal just a bit to whenever he does sink the ship, because I think this is our first, like, the first time we actually see a World Economic News Journal headline. We know that events of God Valley were spread throughout the World Economic News, but that's still 4 years off from this. I believe this is the earliest confirmed World Economic Journal sighting in the story, which is crazy to me.
That's a great catch.
Yep.
Because what is Morgan's like 12 right now?
Yeah, and people suspected that Morgan's like shifted to that after God Valley. Like, there's a whole whackload of theories about that. So that's awesome. Good catch. You're gonna say something, Cube?
No. It's for the next part.
Oh, go ahead, my friend.
So we're getting to the Navy HQ, which I'm really liking a lot. We get obviously Fleet Admiral Kong, Admiral Kong at that time.
Yeah, I know.
Vice Admiral
Crazy.
Garp, Vice Admiral Sengoku, Vice Admiral Otsuru. So I do have something with Tsuru, and since I've talked to the past, but how he is designing Belmir and Tsuru is so similar in some of the stuff we had in the past, and now I won't lie to you. At first, even her hairstyle kind of made me think of Belmir. So I am wondering if Belmir was a part of that unit that was said that Tsuru had. Remember, in the last 30 years of her career, she became this great instructor who has created a fleet of powerful marine, the strongest marine officers around the world. So I'm wondering if Belmir later on will find out she was part of and she knew about Shiki. Remember, Belmir knew Shiki like personally as a young
She
recruit. So
did, yeah, because of Chapter
yeah, so
0, and
yeah.
she had reached captain status at a really young age. I remember looking this up for some One Piece D&D related like purposes. Like I think I looked this up like 2 years ago or something, so I could be misquoting here, but I believe she was already a captain by the age of 20,
Damn.
Yep.
and she wasn't even confirmed to be like
That's Kobe
I
levels.
don't know. I feel like so. Yeah, she's kind of her, or she was. So like, I don't know. That's kind of sick.
Yeah.
And the
I
fact
don't know
of
though, because of the whole how Oikot Kingdom went down, and we don't really hear like we don't know much about it. But for that to be kind of the breaking point for Belmir, but we've never heard Suru talk about it or anything involving the East. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I mean, it's what Nax fought because he caught that in Island Park. The fact that in the official marine registries that the fishermen, the Arlong pirates had, there was no mention of Nami and Nojiko. Similar that we saw Sengoku do with Corazon. You know,
Yeah.
like almost like what if Belmer was not on did not retire? There was a reason why she was on this island. Type of
Yeah, well, there could
situation,
be
so
like some sort of connection there. Wouldn't say it's a familial one, but maybe he's trying to draw us to that the fact that she got out of there and was able to escape from the Marines due to someone's help. Because I don't think it's that easy to just walk away from the Marines, like
I agree.
to just disappear like that. So I feel maybe there was some help involved. But like Vex said, until we see some confirmation she was even in that part of the world, it's just
Yeah. So
speculation.
so I have one last thing, and this one is spicy. So it's about the discussion. So obviously they're discussing about giants joining the Marines, joining them, but we know that Captain John's already a Marine, right? But they don't want the world government to get involved, right? Remember how last arc with Kuba's flashback, we basically got the foundation of what created Revolution Army, basically, in the first few years. What
Yep.
if this is leading to the creation of Sword? Talk about Sword.
Yeah, I've heard you mention
I
this a
kind of
couple
had a
times. I like
similar
it.
thought.
Yeah.
It is the players.
Yeah, because we see Garp, the way Garp is speaking to his superior right here is making it seem like he is somebody in charge of recruiting on a level that Kong isn't. I don't know. Like maybe when the officials come out, it won't be worded that way, but it does seem like Garp is like really
Demanding.
spearheading something right now.
Yeah.
I could get that for sure if this is like kind of
We need
in the
I
burgeoning
need him
stages
on
of
my
Sword
yeah, exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and since we got the Ohio incident created is what led to creation of the Revolution Army. What if whatever goes on in God Valley pushes those Marines to actually starting the unit Sword, like God Valley, like whatever goes in God Valley will explain to us why Sword is supposed to exist. Because every time we meet like those units for doing stuff, like the Revs right now they're just freeing the nations, but we know that that's not their true objective. It's the empty throne. They get rid of the Gorosei. So it's like I'm wondering if we might get revealed in this arc the true purpose of Sword. It's not just challenging the Yonkos without permission. There's a much broader goal.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that was my thought.
Sorry. I'm
I know,
laughing
chat.
at Will and Cody in the chat. They're
Dude,
cracking
chat.
me up right now, yo.
I can't even read it out on stream. It's crazy. But
Yeah, I
and
think
then we
that
transition over
this
here.
exchange
Okay, go ahead.
though,
Yeah,
before we go to the last little segment of the
Sim
chapter
City.
breakdown, like I chill. I think this interaction here, seeing Garp, like prime Garp, and like Sengoku and Suru, and like everyone's just in peak form, getting like Kong easily doubled his panel count for the whole series in this chapter alone. Like
Crazy.
this was the hypest bit for me of the whole chapter, and I think I would love to see so much more of this. And it's like we couldn't really get too much more of the Garp flashback side of things, even though this is like one pinky toe in the pool.
Yeah.
And there's like a full like Olympic size swimming pool of what we could get from Garp. I'm happy we're able to get this kind of stuff now because the floodgates have opened. We've started to learn more about rocks and the older era and things like that. Like we're getting these interactions from Roger we never could have gotten until now.
Yeah.
We're getting these interactions from Garp we never could have gotten until now. And I am just so ecstatic that we're here. You know what I mean? So that is the most standout point of the chapter for me, is that little conversation with those three vice admirals and that admiral.
It puts
Yeah.
so much hype into it. It's just
For sure.
just seeing all these perspectives. We know they were all big players back in this generation, so to get at least touch on, Roger's crew last chapter and now Garp and them this chapter, it's just coming full circle. We're gonna see them all clash, hopefully in a God of Eye flashback this year. Let's go. Come on. But yeah,
It's the fun. I saw a funny meme when
amazing.
after the chapter came out. You know the meme where you see the actor Will Poulter saying, "Wait, you guys get paid?" It's a meme of Bogart looking at Kong and saying, "Wait, you get dialogues?" I had to share. I had to share it. It killed me when I saw it. Yeah, poor Bogart.
Crazy. But yeah, the last little neck of this chapter is focused on Hachinosu. Something
Big
that
news.
I
Big-
originally was very excited to see.
Big, huge news.
Huge.
Yeah.
So
Massive.
this is yet
news.
another instance of Oda showing us a wanted poster without showing us the bounty, and I'm a little tilted on that, but it's fine. Whatever. It wouldn't be as big of a number as we're thinking anyways, because inflation is confirmed to be real in One Piece. That happened. So I don't know, but like I still would have loved to see what these bounties were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I laughed a lot at all this. I had a great time reading this.
So we get several panels and pages even of a lot of people simping for Shocky.
Well, before we get that, we got this Gloriosa versus Linlin that I cracked up at. I loved it. She's like confirming, you quit so you could chase after a man, or she quit so you could chase after a man. She's like you'd know anything about the pain of love. You crank out kids like popcorn.
And she's just got kids like
Damn.
chilling, like is this Katakuri
Is
up
that-
here on her shoulder?
Is that Cracker? No, not Cracker. Charlotte. What's the?
It would be
lava
the
guy.
triplets that were.
The hot guy.
It's he's not lava guy. He's just heat. It's oven,
Oven. Is that Oven I'm seeing?
but it's not lava. Yeah, so people are saying it's Oven, Katakuri, and Daifuku, and like I could see Katakuri for sure. I don't
definitely
care enough about the
Katakuri.
other two to. But
That's crack.
and everyone's like, "Where are her other kids?" And I'm like, "We don't need to see Sparrow right now. Like he got enough screen time. Like he's fine,
I
So,
think it's wild though.
But
I'm gonna give it up for Oda. You know how people have been talking about the inspiration for Shaki is definitely Uma Thurman from in Pulp Fiction. That bounty looks just like the Pulp Fiction poster of Uma on it. So that was my first thought, and give it up for Oda for drawing the. You know how I always like the idea of Big Mom and Gloriosa have some similarities or parallels to how he draws Nami. He literally drew the two versions of Nami. Pissed off Nami who drinks and questioning Nami when she reads. It's literally not, but it's like you're saying Nami in both instances in the poses. It's so funny.
And then
So, yeah,
getting
He's just
slighted
drawing
by
his wife.
Whitebeard. Stussy getting slighted here. Absolutely killed me. I
Dude,
laughed so much at this chapter. I needed this. I was cracking up reading this. Was sat by myself laughing at the screen.
Dude, I won't lie to you. We've seen a lot of toxic family dynamic, like between parents and kid. This is definitely the most toxic relationship. Dusty and Newgate.
It's gonna be fun when it's animated. But yeah,
Actually,
Shaki wants to quit and
Lucas did
start anew.
Lucas did tell me something, and I censored it enough so we could say it on stream. He
Oh,
said,
okay.
Whitebeards looks like he's the type of guy that he's actually been messing with Stussy, but he's not ready yet to admit they're in a relationship.
Oh, he's an
And I
F
won't
boy.
lie. Yeah.
he's on that timing. He's on that timing.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
god.
That's awful. Awful. I thought he was a good guy. Crazy. Are all these people here though? Did you notice that they seem to look just like statues as Shaki arrives on the island?
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
man, that's kind of crazy.
It
Yeah.
looks so similar to all the Marines when Bo is walking down the deck of the battleship.
Yeah, they are. I just kind of chalked it up to there's like some rough sketchiness to a lot of the art in this.
Yeah,
chapter.
yeah. I don't think it's I don't think she has like devil fruit powers or nothing. I just think it's a cool parallel or tie back to that scene. Yeah. Because they're all pirates and that was all Marines, but they look the exact same when they see a woman. It's funny.
You know, there's something that's quite interesting. In this chapter, with the last one as well, you got a lot of stuff, parallels of the stuff that we get revealed in the first time in Amazon Lily. So I'm wondering if this is the arc where we'll finally get the answer what Gloria was alluding to when she talked about something happened hundreds of years ago between the world government and the Amazonian, which led the Amazon to isolate themselves and hide away from men. She did allude that something happened, but then Luffy, obviously, as Luffy, he heard it and just when it looked the other direction, he didn't care.
Right.
I don't even recall that.
Yeah, I need to know the exact language used there before I can speak on it because I don't know. I don't know if it was just like conjecture about being pirates and like the government's never stood for piracy or the fact that they don't
I feel like the
associate,
obvious.
You know what I mean?
If they were still back then a predominantly matriarchal society, I think that the obvious thing is that they kidnapped a probably the empress at the time, and that led to just like generational bad blood. Because that's kind of the world government's MO, in a nutshell, which it's crazy that so much of the fan base forgot about that because it's been established several times in different points in this story.
Yeah.
But
there's a connection to the ancient kingdom. I absolutely believe that with Amazon Lily as well. So I think that ties.
Yeah. You get the fact that Gloriosa left all of her responsibility for Roger, and we know Shaki has admitted that when she left to become an empress, it was to be for really right. Do you guys think that they have either a permanent or resident home in Hashinosu, the Roger Pirates? And that's why Shaki came there. Because it's kind of weird. They're both looking for Roger Pirates. Just funny they both went to Hashinosu.
I think that's just the most likely place to find someone who's on the sea their entire life. I don't think the Roger Pirates ever settled in.
I mean, it doesn't make full sense to me as to why Gloriosa, like you'd think that with the dialogue in this chapter, it shined a little bit more perspective on it, but it really didn't.
Not at all.
Because Big Mom was mentioning that like maybe she came here looking for a man like you did, which would make you think that Gloriosa came here specifically with intent to court Rox because Rox is here and he's the boss of here. But we know that she also mentioned like Shaki, I don't remember what she said, but she's like, I'll never forgive you if you're going for Roger or something like that. So clearly Roger is her goal in some form, and maybe she's just trying to like be buddy with Rox to, I don't know, try to stoke Roger. I don't know what the logic is with Gloriosa specifically, but with Shaki, her logic of like, well, they're gonna chase me down no matter where I'm at, and instead of burdening my country, I would rather burden you. And they're probably less likely to show up at this front doorstep as opposed to the other, right?
Yeah.
I think
it's,
Shocky's logic makes sense. Glorious is the one I'm still confused about, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's because of the Gloriosa. What it made me think. What if the Roger? I'm not saying that they live here with the rocks in peace. More like they do. The one place in the New World they do come from time to time. It's a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean with Tortuga. It's one of those places that pirates will always stop at one point when they pass nearby, like a port. Anyways, but it was just a
No,
fun
I think
food
there's
for
no. It's something to draw attention to because she
yeah.
specifically says that. You know what I mean? Why does Gloriosa think that this is the closest way to Roger? Where is Roger
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, exactly. Like it kind of makes you think of because we also like even though about everything. Let's not forget we've seen many times in the past where Law and Kid still still sees themselves as big rivals to Luffy in their mind, right? They still what it takes. And we saw in Sabaody and Wano, they still even they were fighting together. They still challenge each other. What if like back then there were certain places where they would just deal with it in the battlefield, or like the Whitey Pirates and the Roger Pirates. The first time they see each other, they challenge each other for a 3-day and 3-night fight, and then they can party together. You know, like maybe back then it's not like today where it's just everyone has their own territories. Back then they were a bit more jolly about stuff. There's a time to party and there was a time to fight. Like it could have been different 40 years ago. The Pirate Age. So
I really wonder how much Newgate respected Rocks or at all. But it kind of seems like he really
I feel
does. It
like-
kind of seems like it's genuine relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
got
know.
that vibe based off of just from Kaido's backstory. It seemed like, it didn't seem like he mentioned like, oh, Rock says we got to go to Hachinosu to Kaido, who is just this like little wimpy brat at that point in time. But it didn't seem like he did it like begrudgingly. It seemed like he's like, oh yeah, I got you. Like it was like
really
like, I don't know.
He did, yeah. I think no, there's something to it.
We don't have much to
me a lot
go
of
off of, but I do think. Well, and then we have to think about why Whitebeard. Like, what do we know about Whitebeard as a captain, not as a first mate or a Zoro type, like he seems to be to Rocks currently, but in the future, for the rest of the whole trajectory of his life post God Valley, he is a family man. He is all about found family. He's not somebody who's trying to trample on. Like he had 50 plus allied captains that would swing for him.
Yeah.
Like this was it speaks, I feel like, to Rox's character to a degree, who he kept seemingly the closest to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm falling for him, man. I really think there's something there. I think there was a lot of mutual respect between them, and maybe I don't know. That could have been his best friend. You know what I mean? I always think about Roger and stuff, like being his true like Clash, but maybe it was Rocks, and when Rocks passed, you know what I mean? All he wanted was family at that point.
For me, I always prefer the fear of the reason why the Rocks Pirates don't talk about God Valley isn't not because they despise Zebex, is that they actually adored him so much that it hurts to talk about it. Imagine the Straw Hats losing Luffy. And so, they just keep it to themselves. And I won't lie, with this chapter, the way Whitebeard brought up that we must have some sort of leak, and that storyline with the clone of Stussy last arc, I'm wondering if, like, the reason why Whitebeard and Stussy did not work it out is that Stussy was the one who was betraying them at the end.
Yeah. I think to
kind
throw
of
a little bit of fuel onto that as well, people went to the God Valley snippets that we got during the Kuma flashback in Egghead, and they looked at the arrival of the Rocks Pirates at God Valley in that iteration, and some of the dialogue of these individuals, they were speaking about like a treasure, and like they were speaking about this and that, and like I think Sussy's dialogue was something like, this is the last fight, like this is the final fight.
Yep.
And I'm like, why are you saying that?
Damn.
Like, what does that mean? Like,
that's
like it does sound like something a trader might say.
Yeah.
And the Stussy betrayal scene in Egghead is quite interesting because it's the first time. It's not the first time we get a betrayal scene, and they get found out. It's the first time that they make a pivot where the person who betrayed kind of feels bad for betraying the people she was with. That she came in for a mission, but she got fond of them. So I'm wondering if it's like if the clone could do that, or if the original one did it as well.
It's in their
It
nature.
did care with them at the end. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true, the nature aspect of it. So could be interesting why, because I always found it's an interesting traitor storyline that was just put into Egghead. It was cool, but
Shitty Stussy
we
stocks
didn't really need that.
stocks are up. That's a tough one.
Yeah, can we
Shitty
talk? Can we
Stussy
talk?
stocks.
Can we talk about that scene where the rocks are pulling up because of the Stassy's the Shaki's legendary bar? That scene where Xebex, Don Marlon, Kiki, and YBR, dude, they look like Playmobiles, like toys. The way they're, dude, it cracked me up. I don't know why. It's
I
Don
love
Marlon.
it.
Look, just look at him.
No,
Look
I
how
love all
stiff he
of it.
looks as he's walking.
This is
Dude, it's
this
hilarious.
It's
is
hilarious.
classic character assassination. I can't believe they would do this to my boys just like they did to Sanji. Like,
No, dude,
oh
dude,
my
I'd
god,
cry.
dude.
Dude,
They
Whitebeard
killed an
doesn't.
agenda.
Whitebeard sniffing the air is the funniest fucking part. Like, excuse my language.
Crazy. It's crazy, dude. Like,
But... yeah. Gosh, this was hilarious. Oda really cracked me up.
So there might be another agenda. Listen, when it comes to those kind of stuff, it could be the fact that she might already have it, but as people, I still believe for Rayleigh, but a lot of people believe that Shaki was Rayleigh's mother, Mihawk's mother. That is basically 1 year after Mihawk is born. So it does seem, at least for right now, that she's not Mihawk's biological mother.
oh, but you don't see the scar on her belly? No, I'm kidding. Oh
Wait,
my god.
there's
a
scar on her
You've seen
belly?
that, right?
No, I didn't.
No,
Yeah, when she
no,
arrived.
there's not. It's not a scar. People are running away with like dude, people are stretching so hard this flashback. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like
So-
it's just sketching. It's sketching marks. It's not an actual like I
I don't know.
That's
I've had
not
appendicitis,
where
so.
At top of
okay.
it,
But that's not where you'd pull a baby from. You know what I mean?
yeah, as well.
Oh my
Like I
God.
said, at least from right now, it does seem that she's not the biological mother. So possibly
No, she's
Shaki
not.
being the mother of Mihawk. Yeah, definitely not. The Rayleigh one, I was definitely sure of it.
Rayleigh
But,
is still
Shaki
an
is-
option. It's just not like needed. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fun theory.
Yeah, I'm not a
but
big
it's
fan
not
of family
necessary.
piece.
Yeah.
Like if it makes the world that Oda has built so much smaller if
I
every
agree.
single person relates to another person. Like that's one thing is like, like the whole like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing. It's like you can figure out like all of these cool connections, but there's layers of separation to it. If everybody is one layer of separation away from each other, I feel like that makes the world too small. And this is a massive world with such a crazy, robust cast of characters in all different walks of life and age brackets and things like that. And if you're just going to like make every single one of them integral in someone else's like story, and it for what payoff?
Mhm.
Even it's like it doesn't feel like Oda's quality of writing, like the standard that I think most of us are familiar with. It feels cheaper, and like I don't like using that word, but I haven't heard like any good family piece theories recently. There were some good solid ones like from like the Wano days and stuff like that, but since getting into Egghead and like learning more of this information, I don't really think that there's been like a significant breakthrough discovery that makes any of these other ones make sense. Like I'm not a fan of the whole like Tritoma's Luffy's mom stuff or the Croco mom stuff or anything like
Tritoma's
that. And like
crocodile.
okay, chill. But it's like I don't know. I don't need that to be in the story. If it happens a few times here and there, cool, I guess. But like I'm not really like I don't know. I see people bending over backwards to try to rationalize some of these family piece theories, and I don't get it. I just don't see the
personally,
craze. You know what I mean?
to what you were saying, Cube. I personally do like the idea of Rayleigh and Mihawk having a connection, but that's like that doesn't have to be father son. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm the first one to say like I have no problem with the family stuff. I don't do the family piece because, as you know, and then it goes crazy of this person related to this person. Yeah, it makes the like Vex says, it makes the world kind of weird. It's like the whole point of when we found out of Clover and Dragon being really good friends, and then you realize, oh wait, for some reason Luffy just instantly connect to Robin. It's cool the one time, but if it's constantly, it becomes redundant. So I do agree on that point. I always like the Rayleigh and Mihawk stuff because from all the family stuff, I always felt like, well, obviously I have my Tree Toma and Luffy's mom. That's a separate thing. That's my agenda. But I always find like at least it's pleasant. Like okay, why not? Doesn't
Well,
bother me enough.
there's a lot of like outside things that you connect to Rayleigh and Mihawk that you don't have to be like, well, they were around and they're both really strong and they're the right age. Maybe they're both you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of like actual story and like
Yeah, exactly.
significance that
Yeah.
connect Rayleigh to Mihawk.
No, I have an example. The bad one was Kaido has to be the son of Harold because they look similar.
Oh my god.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Well, thank God that's kind of dead now. But, I mean,
I had my whole spiel about
thing
that
is like
Discord.
the story is at its core most largely about found family. So including all of these familial bonds just doesn't seem like it thematically adds anything, where it does feel like it would detract a bit from that core theming. And so that's like my whole piece on like all of the family ties and connections that everyone like if it meant something, I feel like Oda would have made some of these past reveals mean something. Like the whole fact that Frankie's dad is most likely Queen and it'll never matter. And the whole fact that Zoro's entire family tree gets mentioned in an SBS and stuff like this stuff doesn't matter to the degree that people think it does, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. People just like to, like, they want to figure something out. Be like, aha, I got it. But at what point you're detracting from the story to try to push that?
Yeah. And with the statement here at the end of near the end of the chapter, with it saying that that Shaki is the treasure of Hachinosu, I won't say crown jewel with unironically, because it's the same verbiage that was used when the scans originally said crown jewel, but the officials just said treasure
jewel.
Okay,
clown
chill.
Okay. No, this is hilarious.
That's why I'm not gonna do this. That's why I'm not gonna do this. But we find out that Shaki is a treasure of Hachinosu. She is regarded as such. And a lot of people took this as a hard confirmation that she is the entire inciting factor, the spark that lit the powdered keg that is God Valley. Do we have thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Kind of my first takeaway as well. I don't know how the logistics of that would happen. I don't know why exactly they would happen, but they have gone after empresses before. And yeah, if it is her, that's crazy. That's some crazy stuff from the world government. But if it's not, I'm not surprised. This is Oda being like, here you go. Like, play with this idea for a bit until I show you what's actually going on.
I'm just happy because whatever they took from Hashinosu, like I said, it could be that in 4 years, it's not Shaki, but let's play the Tomo Stoney Hawk thing. Her son, it could be, or another person that's considered as a crown jewel. I do like the idea of it, but I've always liked the idea. I never liked that. They took a special a legendary Del food. They took a special weapon, stuff like that. I always liked that it was a person. It does feel like whatever they took is going to it had to be a person. That I think that makes sense for everything. So I am happy that we got that.
Yeah. Well, we've learned that yeah, a lot of, well, the word treasure is so ambiguous in One Piece for half the crew or half the story or half the people in the story, excuse me, it could be a person. Half the people in the story could be an object. So I do think that you are right, though, that rocks wouldn't go crash out over some gold.
I think it's really funny because Oda had specifically addressed the concerns about the One Piece treasure and everyone memeing that it's just the friends we made along the way. And he's like, no. It's something tangible. It's like, it's a real thing. And I feel like if it's just pretty lady or something like that, that's worse than the friends we made along the way, I feel like. And
No.
I think there's a lot more to this situation. And people are really preemptively just like, people are jumping the gun, reducing this down to something that is, we don't have the full context or the full information. But even regardless of that, people are omitting information that we do have, which is the fact that God Valley never would have blown up to the proportions that it did if it weren't for the efforts of little tiny tech genius Ginny hacking into world government comms and leaking said info and like locations up to several different powerful factions and like world powers in different oceans, and making this event so much bigger than it ever should have been. If it did end up just being about a few devil fruits and a lady, even though half the community is upset because it's all about a lady, they completely forget about Ginny. They completely forget about the devil fruits. They're just mad because it's only Shocky, and this takes so much away from the story. And I think people are just really wanting to be angry on the internet. Go figure. But it's so much bigger than what people have been reducing it to.
I mean, think about this.
If it's just if it is just Shaggy, it's still justified. It's fine. Okay.
Yeah, but also
Everybody
think of
calm down.
Marineford. Marineford was all about Ace. If you think about it, if we think like Ace found himself in that situation, it was told not to go. You know, so it's like it's not about it's just a woman. It's like what she matters for them. And I won't lie, you said something that really that made me think of it with Ginny's thing. Remember when we first got introduced to Shaki and Rayleigh? And after Marineford, how Rayleigh explained the reason why he came here is because Shaki is always known for her great intuition. And she came up with all the reasoning why Hancock would have took Luffy with him. But after Marineford, what if Shaki, if she was the one taken, she's the mind behind Ginny's message? Because Rayleigh did talk about Shaki's crazy intuition.
Well,
because we always said it cannot be
be
Malcolm and Jin. It cannot be them. They're too young to figure that way ahead.
Well, Ginny, I mean, Ginny's smart as hell. Like,
Yeah.
and like the fact that she already knew about 2 of the devil fruits.
Yeah.
And so we could assume, because in the same breath of her hacking those snails and talking about how smart she is and how and whatnot, she also mentioned those 2 devil fruit to Kuma and how they need to get their hands on them and stuff like that. So like clearly that was a part of the information that they leaked. There might have been more devil fruits. Like we have a confirmation of like what the 6 treasure chests, and people have speculated that those might have all contained several different devil fruits, but we only knew about 2. But either way, this was bigger than just, ooh, pretty lady, let's all go to Goon Valley. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy because so many people have been outraged about this reveal, and I'm like, chill. Like, it's not like that.
Last week, last chapter, they were outraged because they called Roger a fraud because he fell for Shocky like everyone else. This week, Xebex fell with Whitebeard. They're now appalled because everything's about a woman. They always find something to get upset about.
Yeah, I don't get it personally. I think this is a great development. I think that is almost assuredly means we'll see something of God Valley from Rox's perspective. Like, we got Kuma and we didn't get a lot of God Valley, but we have seen it before. I think we're going to see a little bit more of it. We probably won't get the full story until Garb. But I think we are working our way towards another snippet of God Valley. Hopefully.
Yeah,
There is
Anything that
yeah,
gets us closer to that, I'm happy.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. I agree.
So with the last panel, I have an announcement or more of a prediction. So you know how until now, every time we got something with the Gorosei, they always led the discussion with Saturn, right? And now, obviously Saturn is out. I'm wondering if that last panel of Mars is Oda saying the next Gorosei that would be like the main one that we'll deal with, as is in the speeches, is Mars. Similar to how we did Shichibukai by Shichibukai, and then we did quickly Yonko per Yonko. I'm wondering now with the Gorosei where he might do a similar thing. So now it's Mars's turn. Get more into details with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
it is
mean,
very interesting seeing
Mars has
any
said a
shot
few
of the Room
things,
Authority.
like
Yeah,
Sabaody, for example, and Jaya. He was the one speaking. He was our first, really, Gorosei to tell us shit.
Sure,
I
you're
think
right.
it was the anime that switched stuff up because we were led to believe, I think, that during the O'Hara flashback, Mars was talking, but then they changed it to Saturn, I believe. I don't remember. I could be
Yeah, it was.
getting it wrong, but
No, it's a switch between those two. I don't know which one it was, but yeah, I remember that switch.
yeah.
That's
Chat is
what's
out of
up.
hand. Okay.
Yeah, no, I saw the
But
chat
yeah,
a
Did you
this
couple
just hear
is.
minutes
that?
ago.
This lightning struck right outside my window. That's
Oh,
crazy.
no, I didn't hear it. Wow.
I'm getting Lelucioed currently, guys.
All right. So, yeah, no. But this is kind of where the question come from. I guess this is where people are kind of getting the idea that Rox must have got betrayed by Harold. I think this is a load of crap. Yeah, I don't believe it at all.
I don't think there's any way. Like, I think that he might. I don't know, because they're clearly trying to tie Harold and Rox's story closer together as we approach God Valley. I think that there is a chance that maybe giants were there also, which would be really hype.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this is a thought that I had brought up in Daxake's Discord. I was wondering, because when would giants have been on the same battlefield as Big Mom? Because we know that it was in a fight with Big Mom specifically that Goldberg's father had fallen and Nash had been turned into a homie. God Valley might be when that happens. We could like I don't I don't know. So like I don't know when else she
Actually,
would have, because I don't think she's returned to Elbaf since, and we don't know how often the Goldberg or his dad would have been off island either, but like it might have been in passing, throughout just the era, just out at sea. But I think that it could, because obviously Harold is now being tasked with killing Rox by the world government for his main mission, which I don't think he's going to follow through with, but there's still ways where I think they might end up at God Valley somehow, right?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Think about it. Remember the guy that we said that it was a part of Harold's fleet when he met Ida? Look a lot like Goldberg. He could be his father. That's Goldberg's father. It means that he's part of Harold's main fleet. So if he did something, if he did lead at least got the direction of God Valley, Goldberg's father would have been with him most likely, if that's him. So you might be cooking.
No, I think that's a
I
great
think it'd
opportunity.
be interesting.
Because that was the first question. When did Big Mom clash with this person? Like, obviously. We went straight to like, oh, maybe she went back, but that would be even more interesting if it was here.
I feel like if she went back, if a 5-year-old version of her was able to topple like one of their village chiefs, like it would be leveled.
Yeah.
Like I think if she went back, like I don't know, like
yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it would be more noted. We would know about it by now. Just based off of the nature of that flashback it wouldn't have been such a big deal for her to have like stomped all over him when she was a 5-year-old if there was a bigger occurrence. On the shores of Elbaf or something like that.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, Gert kind of made it clear that she hasn't seen Big Mom since they're kids. They were childhood best friends.
Yeah.
So it's most likely we know she hasn't set foot there, but She could have met in the battlefield, but yeah, I don't see her having appeared in Elbaf ever since she was exiled with Mazukama.
Yeah, I know Cube loved this last little panel here because he got to see the silhouette of his favorite character, St. J. Garcia Saturn.
No, I'm good. Dude, he can.
Happy for you.
Don't
Dude,
you don't have anyway. It's
Saturn.
okay, Cube.
The only thing that makes me happy whenever I get a flashback now with Saturn is I know that when we get back to present time, he's no more there. Dude, I promise you, if we get some characters that return later on in the story, Oda, please keep Saturn on 10 foot, 6 feet under, please. We all know where Saturn was sent. He was not sent to paradise, that's for sure. If he was really unalived, please. So, with that being said, do you guys have any last thoughts?
It was a nice. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great break from everything. Made me laugh a lot. Brought me back to like what One Piece was.
Yeah.
I recently have been watching a bit of Punk Hazard, and that arc is absolutely hilarious as well. And it just reminded me of how much comedy there is in the story, and I needed it. It's awesome.
I think overall, as a chapter, it felt very downtime. It felt very low stakes. It felt very just expositive. And I think that for me, like I mentioned, the scene with the Navy headquarters and seeing Kong again, that was kind of the hypest point. So overall, it's a very chill chapter amongst just all of the crazy reveals and hype and whatnot that we've been getting. I don't think this was like anything to, hoot and holler about per se, but it was fine. If I had to like give it like an actual grading, I'd give this like a 6 out of 10. Like it's not a bad chapter.
I didn't.
But I do think it is. What's your number?
No. It's strategic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're pulling a Lucas.
It was a fun
You're gonna
chapter.
wait until we've given our numbers.
No. You're not getting a number.
I think a 6 out of 10 is fair. I don't think it's a
Absolutely.
bad chapter, but I think it's compared to what we've been getting recently, especially so. I think it's a fairly middling chapter when it comes to Elbaf so far. And I don't like to use the word mid because it has a very bad connotation with the culture lately. I don't think this was a bad chapter. 6 is a fine score, but that's where I put this.
You heard him, folks. He said One Piece is mid.
Damn.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Bring Saturn back. No, I'm saying.
Not off birthday. Am I right? Am I right? Okay.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, my friend.
I could even, man. I am shocked. I am shocked. So, my rating, I won't lie, with everything we've gotten, I like it's OG Naruto One Piece for me. The style, the humor, everything. But yeah, I'm gonna have to rate it. Obviously, following the bounty system, I'm gonna rate it with Nami's second bounty, 6.6.
That's fair.
Yeah, compared to everything
Totally
we've gotten
fair.
in the past, it's been a bit diety that
All right,
chapter,
Mac.
but it's still fun.
What?
Your stratagem is time. What is your number? What is
I
your
don't have a
rating?
number. I had a lot of fun. It was a great chapter.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
Be real right now.
I didn't put it at a 6. I give it at least a 7. I had a lot of fun. I don't have good justification.
I mean, no. I've heard people put it at like a 9 or a 9.5.
Oh
no,
that's crazy.
No, that's insane, dude. Like, there's no way.
In a series of One Piece, you can't just put every chapter at that. Like, well, let's be realistic. Just we've had some ups and downs.
Yeah,
and
I think
we just had a lot of high highs. It's okay to come down a little bit and relax for a minute.
And you think 7 is what this? You think that that's coming down and relaxing is a 7?
6.57. Yeah, I still had a lot of fun.
No, yeah, it's fine. It's a good chapter. It's nestled within a magazine break and One Piece Day, and then another Oda break. So like we are on break next week.
We are.
Make sure you guys are subscribed. We got some fun stuff planned for the break week, and whatnot. But it's just kind of a lull, and that's fine. You know, I hope Oda takes more breaks, honestly, especially because I have on my bingo card that we will only have 33 or less chapters this year, and we're approaching that. But take all the breaks you need, Oda. We love you, and this was like, I don't know. It's like I can't wait. I do think we get God Valley, at least a snippet. I hope we see a baby Blackbeard before we get there, because that's only 2 years away
That'd be hilarious.
from where we left off.
Little cutie
That'd be
boy.
crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be
Are you gonna be ugly? Upset.
He looks worse than Loki.
He's gonna be born with an incomplete set of teeth.
Oh, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Wait, you guys are born with teeth already out? That's crazy.
No, that's the crazy.
He's
That's
gonna
be
be
the weird
born
part.
with an incomplete set,
Yeah.
though. That's what makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
Is
You ever see
Oh,
those
man.
weird? Yeah, okay, yeah. But that was fun. Love you guys to death. What a blast of a chapter. How about you take us away, Cube?
Yeah, we'll see you all at the next sunrise. Bye.